You know, I'm not on the affordable. I mean, you're putting forward here. But if there's anything more important than any one of these projects that we spoke about were refunded in the past, I think putting food on the table for the kids in the Guatemala, or making sure that people can have a roof over their heads, I think that would take priority over anything. So I hope that council understands that. And you know, this email I sent you today wasn't smart. It just when I got it, it just gave me a reflection and saying the only difference you got is social services, social housing, and food banks, or you'd be back where you were in the 30s. Thank you.
Just one clarification, Mr. Mayor, is, you know, and by the way, I agree with Councilor Rabat to a certain extent, but there is a motion on the floor. How can we entertain another motion until the first motion is dealt with, because they're completely contradictory?
Well, I think I'm going to put the first motion aside, I would suggest, because normally we deal with the motions after the presentation from the CFO. We deal with motions.
So you're not recognizing the first motion?
I'm putting that one aside until it's well. If I deal with that one,
Is that okay with the mover and the seconder?
Mr. Mayor, I'd move with the consent of my seconder that my motion be tabled to the discussion on this particular motion, this country. So that means it still goes right back to second.
And there's other motions you can come forward.
Whatever, this is the chair here. I'm still, because it's consent of my second, I think.
All right, Councilor Shaughnessy?
I guess so.
All right. Councilor Grant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I can understand the intent of the motion. I do understand the concern of the CFO when it talks about our working reserves. I was, if this turned down, I was going to put another motion on to talk about the working reserves. And so at this time, I'd like to not support this motion at this time, and I'll be introducing another one. But you know what Councilor Dupelle is talking about, and I brought that up before, another meeting, is to talk about the fellow that I met that was put on pension for 20 years, and it's non-indexed, and 20 years ago his pension was very good. Today he's having a hard time to live. And every increase that we put on him, we put the water and sewer rates on him, and now if he has to travel, gas, etc., we have to try and find ways to reduce that burden on him. And I think that motion is good, but we still have to reflect on our working reserves and keep that to a certain level. So I won't support it, and I'll come back with another motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I second the motion, Councilor Rabat's motion, because 2% isn't somewhere where I feel we need to go. I think it's a tough day today and a tough time for you, Mrs. Adams, and all the departments who have to come up with a balanced budget. It's not an easy thing when people do a great job at doing this. But I have to really stop and think and say that, you know, the working people, the working families with children and people living on their own is the same as Councilor Grant said. It's really not 2% we're talking about. That's what we're talking about here today. But we have water and sewer. The prices of going to use programs at the Aquatic Center have gone up. The Cornwall Transit, and it just, user fees, everything keeps going up. So to live in Cornwall, it's more than a 2% property tax increase. So I think that, and looking back, when we look back, if I look at this being my first term on council and sitting here for 4 years, if we look at 2% every year, we really can't finish our term and say we only raised the taxes 8% over the 4-year period. It's really compound. You have to go back and look at what you were paying 4 years ago to what you're paying 4 years from now, and I'm sure it would be a lot. It would be amount to more than 8%. So I will welcome other motions, but you know, and I love the way you break it down that it's $47 to $52 a week. But for most residents and for those working people and people who are on fixed incomes and are still struggling to stay in their own home and not end up being on our social housing waiting list, $52 is too much, plus everything else. So this is the reason that I was supporting that Councilor Rabat's motion.